I mean, he was always around. So when you guys did the first solo session, whatever night that was, I want to say it's night.
Toto and
with Toto and Cielo.
Upstairs.
Yeah, I think so. So we were just sharing. Actually, Ray was sharing. I think Pastora was sharing with us at first, and then he was there, and then Eric and Ray. Eric started sharing. Ray started sharing his family testimony, which really spoke to Pastora, and then Daniel was there, and so then you and Eric. Actually, Eric started speaking. Just words of encouragement, and then I believe he started prophesying over Daniel. So then we're all praying over Daniel, and Daniel and Pastor Cesar, and at the end they're just both weeping, hugging each other, which is really cool. So it was really cool. When you guys were doing Sozo, we were like doing all this other stuff down there. It was so awesome.
Yes,
Every minute was so.
They stayed together for a long time.
Yeah, they did.
And crying and crying.
But this
Daniel and Daniel.
Yes. Yeah, and we saw him every day, right? We saw him every day.
Yes, we saw Daniel every day.
By that.
Well, and I feel like him opening his home and doing dinner for us was just so
That
special.
was a big deal to them.
Mm-hmm, that they would do that. Yeah. So good.
Yeah. And they were having a lot of fun with us, and
They were so neat.
so good.
With Carlos and Ray needs to talk. They have too many.
Are there any testimonies you guys haven't shared yet that you haven't heard?
So much, I'm pretty sure.
You might have shared.
You heal people every single second.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
The person you saw.
You didn't give any to any of us. You didn't let us play.
Even the guy across the street from our house.
Yes.
I saw you praying for him.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't even know what happened there. But
God just opened the door, he was just cruising along in his four-wheeler thing, and so just divine appointment we began talking, and then the Lord just opened the door for me to pray for him. I prayed for him the first time I saw him and his wife, and it was almost like he came and hunted me down the second time, to where he could have a conversation again. Wow. And it was good, he was just really encouraged. There was something that was just broken on him, and you could see he had health issues, and he allowed me to just pray over his body. I don't know if God ever did anything. I could definitely see that God was touching his life.
Yeah.
And so it was good.
So good.
Yeah. He, he just lives down there, retired to live on the beach. Yeah.
Did you tell us about the lady on the walker that you throw on the floor yet?
No. She was so sweet. I want to say the Lord highlighted her, but honestly, when we were supposed to start praying over all the pastors and the pastors' wives, she was right there. And really, I couldn't go to the left or to the right. It was, you pray for her first before you go anywhere else. But the Lord, once I began to start praying for her, that was it. I wasn't going anywhere else. And God just began to just give me words of encouragement over her life, to bless her, of how much she meant to the Lord. And I just began to hug her, and she grabbed hold of me and wasn't going to let me go. And she cried, and she cried, and she cried. And I don't know if it was the first time I prayed over her or the second time, but no, it was the first time. And she just, the presence of the Lord hit her, and she hit the floor. And when everybody came back the second time around, the presence of God on her was so strong. When everybody was worshiping, you could hear her praying in tongues out of the entire church.
Yeah.
She was so loud. The presence of God was on her so powerfully. And she then came back up for her ear when I had a word of knowledge of ears. And God, she said that God opened her ears, and she was born with problems in her legs. And although she was still with a walker, she did say that her legs felt so much stronger. And
Yeah.
so I really don't know what happened there, but I do believe God opened her ear where she could hear
Amen.
better.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Hmm.
You also
Yeah.
prayed for her husband.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
She came and handed you down to
she
pray
chased
for
me
her.
down to
Yeah, she
pray
chased
for
you down.
him.
I was just waiting for you. So
Uh-huh. Yeah,
yeah.
it was good. That was good. I just think, yeah,
And there were
When-
pastors too.
yeah,
Yeah.
hmm yeah. I just know that when they got home, he got an earful. I don't think she ever stopped talking about what was going on in her life, because she was just, God just touched her so much. And it was really cool to see just the presence just fall on her like that. Yeah.
And at the rehab center, you pray for a little girl.
Yeah.
Remember the little girl you prayed for?
All the girls were there and they were all getting prayed for, but God highlighted this one towards me, and you could see she wouldn't lift her head up and she wouldn't look at anybody. And she was like, you could, on one hand, you could tell she didn't belong there. She shouldn't be in there. And I could sense that she'd been through some traumatic things in her life.
Yeah.
And so I told Victoria, I said, come here. I want you to pray for this girl. I said, let her know that the things that she's been through in her life, that was not her fault. And so Victoria just grabbed her and began to hug her, and she began to weep as Victoria translated these words of encouragement to her and just of love, just how much Jesus loved her and what she meant to God. And you could it finally broke for her, because she just sat there the entire time, just really, you could just see how hurt she was, but she wasn't going to give in or break into anything. And then that final moment, you could see where God just began to crack open the door and began to able to touch her heart.
Thank you. Amen. And then you went and prayed for the mom.
And I didn't know that was the mom, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the little girl asked for us to pray for the mom, and you were already praying for the mom.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I don't even remember what I said there, but yeah. Praying for the mom and all the women. That was crazy. You go into these places, they call them rehabilitation centers, but they're literally locked in. They're like prisons. Not, I mean, it was pretty crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Lord.
Mm-hmm.
What you thought about the rehab center, Pastor?
Yeah, I just felt like God was calling him out, because they were here. They were being ministered to, and they were the focus, of like, we need to help you out because you can't really make it on your own, you know. That's kind of the feeling I got. And I felt like God was just calling them out. Like, no, you can change the world. You are special. You have something. And so there was a little bit in that message and the message to them about that, but I felt like it really was activated when they prayed for their leader.
Yeah.
Like when God
Yeah.
said to do that, when they prayed for their leader, I felt like something was just so powerful in that moment for each of those girls. Not for the leader, yeah, totally, but for the girls to give to the leader spiritually.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sure they can help. They sweep. I'm sure they help physically, but for them to be able to pray for her like that, I just felt like God was communicating that they have something to give too, you know.
Amen.
That's for me, it was so powerful about that time. And I know God's going to use that. He definitely planted seeds.
Yeah.
Remember she first was praying along with them, and you said, just receive it. And it was like, whew,
Boom,
like
all
boom.
of a sudden.
Yeah.
She
Bam,
couldn't
yeah.
receive it. It was so cool.
Yeah, she's so used to giving,
Yeah,
giving.
that was really, really good.
Yeah,
And then when you tell her, you are a good person, you are a good leader, she broke even more. Like probably people told her that she was not good or something. Oh, I remember she was saying, "I'm good. I don't want to be bad. I don't want to be bad."
That person.
Oh.
Please, God, forgive me. She said.
It's like she got convicted probably in the moment and she was doing something.
That was powerful.
Yeah, that day was so powerful. Really powerful.
Yeah, well. And then some of us went to the men's rehab center.
Oh yes.
That was cool. It was outside, and it was a lot bigger of a complex, and there was probably more like 60 men, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Something like that. There were rows of chairs, you know, and then Toto did a little worship, and then Eric preached. And when Eric started to preach, there was one guy who was doing foul things to him, like right in the second row,
No way.
like straight at him, like it was total manifestation
Oh my
of
God.
the enemy. And Eric just laughed, and he kept going, and we were able to pray for him at the end. And you could tell they were used to hearing messages there, but when they were a little bit not receptive, but then when we were able to lay hands on them and pray and prophesy over them, and some of those guys went down so hard into the spirit. It was awesome. We did pray for healings. I forgot what happened with the.
It was migraines and headaches.
Oh yeah, a bunch of people came up for the migraines.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was
again.
That was a thing.
That's where that started. And after that, everybody started getting headaches.
But you know what? Headaches usually is witchcraft.
Oh yeah. But a lot of them had it, and you could see. Young kids up front, and you could see the. You could just sense the demons on them, you know. And just like, one kid just stood out so clearly, and he was so young, and his eyes just kept rolling in the back of his head, and I'm like, wow, these poor kids. They're just, they're stuck in that environment, and there's no way out of it. And
And we met Sergio and John.
And was it
Tom?
Dawn?
I forgot.
Yeah.
So they go there all the time, and they teach at this place. So we were kind of like the newbies,
Mm-hmm.
But I can tell when we introduce ourselves, they were kind of like, this is our turf. I felt that.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And then after we ministered, man, they were like wanting to get our numbers and Facebook, and they were like, this is amazing, because they saw the power of God.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they were blown away.
The presence fell.
Yeah.
And
I think it brought them to another level of expectation.
Yes.
Amen.
Definitely.